Morning, guys and girls. Welcome in, team. Welcome into this European session. Wanted to do this one with you today because obviously timing wise I think we're in for a very good week ahead of trade, and I think there's going to be lots of volatility and the like. So jump in the chat, let me know what you are looking at and what we are looking for in this week. As I did have a quick look at the markets yesterday. Didn't really want to trade too much yesterday. There's a couple of things I was looking at. So today is a day for planning as always, and as you can see, BTC is just grinding up. Bear's doing a little bit of a rubbish job on big boy Bitcoin at the minute, but we will we'll see what's going on. Yo, welcome in UCM Crypto. We'll see what's going on. We're gonna have a real unbiased look at the data today. Okay, plan of action. We're just going to run through what we've got going on in the markets this week, okay, and then we're going to have a top-down look at BTC and a couple of other coins. We can have a look at some altcoins as well, but I'm not going to run through every single altcoin, to be honest, because a lot of them all look very similar, don't they? Okay, so if you're looking at an altcoin that is underperforming or whatever, then just ask yourself, what does the chart look like? If it looks like shit and it's underperforming certain other larger volume assets, then give it a rest. Go trade something else, in my honest opinion. Okay, majority of the memes and stuff are going to look like that. All right, so yeah, just on the multiverse screen at the minute of the TRDR trader console, grab a link from below for a free trial. As we see BTC in the top right there, okay, grinding up. And we see Ethereum just doing the same, really. Had my eye on IP yesterday, okay, and Teo as well, so we can run through those. Yo, what's up, Max? Name change. What's up, Max? Yeah, so IP yesterday. Got back to my desk yesterday officially. Little long on IP from these walls here, and actually Teo as well as a little introduction, getting myself just getting the juices flowing back in the market for a cheeky Sunday move. Had a target up here of 6 on IP, and Teo really did underperform, to be honest. But yeah, as I was waking up, IP didn't quite get to that $6 mark. Absolute cat's cock hair off that $6 mark. If you want to get more involved in what's happening with trade setups and session by session and daily analysis, then come and join us in WHOP, because I am posting quite a lot more in there. As I was saying just a couple of hours ago, TP'd on both those altcoins now as they were coming down, but just showing that the entry and the positions at the minute. Well, what time was that? Whatever time that was, I was still in the longs, because as we hit those highs, so this was, where's that IP one? So this was the IP setup yesterday at 10 AM my time. Okay, look, really nice. Nice bid on the asset. I think there was even a little bit of negative funding. Okay, just down into the lows there. Obviously, just ranging into these lows there, and up we go. And yeah, just didn't quite get to that $6 mark yesterday. So as I woke up this morning, Nick's making his espresso, and we're just tickling under this $6 mark. I thought, all right, okay, I'll hold this. I'll see what we get. Price just starts to fall down, and these offers start to chase down as well. So I've TP'd this morning, not quite capitulating fully on that trade, but that's what we get. Sunday, Monday, fun day, isn't it? Teo, similar. Teo, I actually said this to the guys in Discord as well, actually. So 2 ways to get a little bit more involved with myself and the way I trade. You can either join the TRDR private alpha section Discord, which is part of the data-driven market analysis course, or I am posting a lot more in the WHOP community as well. But yeah, just showing the Teo one to the guys yesterday in the Discord as well, and going through the BTC analysis as well yesterday. So yesterday, 4 PM in the TRDR Discord, higher all around in my honest opinion. I think we're about 114 there, and I was saying to the guys, really want to be looking at about 116. Okay, so there, 115, 116, possible short, doesn't mean we have to. Okay, but yeah, showing that to the guys yesterday. That's where we're looking for. We're saying that we're holding the point of control. You really want to see a deviation. Now, whichever way you shake it, you want a deviation below here or above here. The trend is your friend at the minute within this range, and we've pushed up, and we are just up here, tickling the 116 mark, just under 116 there now. Okay, so yeah, nice. all in, let's go all in, and what's potentially a bullish week. But yeah, posting steps as well, Teo there as well for the guys in the Discord. But yeah, little bit of a mixed day today as we come down. It could be a day of potentially putting in that Monday high. That could be it. Okay, maybe we're putting a Monday low on Bitcoin. If you're a bit of a range trader, yo, what's up, jump in. Yeah, if you're a bit of a range trader, you'll know more often than not that on a Monday we can actually put in a high, we can put in a low, and then it even extends into Tuesday that we auction one of those areas on BTC, and then we'll have a look from there and then see what we get. If you remember last week on BTC, so the last derivatives / prop trade I had on BTC was actually when I was still away from desk, 21st. Was that Tuesday? I think that was Tuesday. Yeah, so the main moves, the main bulk of the moves do tend to come Tuesday onwards, historically. That was the last really good prop / perps trade I had on BTC. I was really happy with that one, especially because I was away from desk and I took it on the mobile. But yeah, absolutely, price got absolutely smashed down, okay? And then I was saying to the guys in Discord, I'm going to take profit on this because we just started hanging around in this area. And Bears really did a bad job of sending it lower. I thought it would have been nice to get back down to that 103, 104 level. But yeah, lack of sellers. And then it didn't take much to push us back up. So we will run through that today. We'll have a look at where we've come from, where we're going, and all the key levels on BTC, top-down view. Then we can have a look at the range on ETH and a couple of other altcoins as well. But like I say, yeah, a big week ahead, and I know you'll hear this a lot. Blah, blah, blah. Big week ahead on Twitter and all that shit. Well, look, let's just go over this and what we've got coming up. But as you all know, we will concentrate on the data as traders. I'm not a news trader. I'm not an event trader. I will concentrate on the data, and more often than not, it tends to be the case that you get in a position before this data comes out, and this just accelerates that position, to be honest. Okay, but key events this week. Just from this just popped up earlier and it just referenced it, bullet pointed it nice. So Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday. Okay, I think we all know, unless J Powell is going to absolutely pull a U-turn, I think that's baked in. All right, I think that's probably baked in that you're getting a rate cut. All right, so I'm not expecting too much from this. You'll probably hear everyone say the market's going to absolutely send. Well, is it planned already? You know, is the recipe being set? Yes, probably. You know, Bitcoin is trending up at the minute in a higher time frame trend as well, so we'll jump into that. Do you want to be long bias? Yes, probably, but it doesn't mean to say you can't take a big fat liquidity grab lower pre news events, okay, which would be good to go and find some demand. President Trump meeting President Xi Thursday. I think a deal's already done there as well, and you know, I am absolutely no world economic political expert, but I reckon this deal's been done. I think this deal's been done as well, and this meeting will just be a handshake, icing on the cake and all that shit. But the big one really, and you do have to, this is bigger than I think the Fed rate decision and stuff is. You've got a lot of tech earnings coming out Thursday and into Friday as well. So 20% of S&P 500 companies, so not just tech companies, are reporting earnings this week. So, you know, we all know that tech stocks, NASDAQ, S&P, and even gold. Let's not go over what gold is going and give Peter Schiff his glory. But Bitcoin more often than not does trade like a tech stock. It has been lagging a lot. Excuse me, he's got a little bit of a cough. Just excuse me. Caught some lurgy on the plane back, traveling last week. You know, you'll see some arguments of is gold liquidity flowing into Bitcoin. I don't fucking know. You know, we'll just trade it either way, won't we? Of course we will. But yeah, just to highlight, everyone is saying big week. If you're seeing that all shield on Twitter, yes, it is a fucking big week, okay? So we need to acknowledge that. Right, so let's dive into some levels. We can see BTC pushing up here. I think what we need to do first is concentrate on big boy Bitcoin, and we're going to do that by just going top down, okay? Now, I know I did this the other week with the members in WHOP, but it's something I do not every week, but generally I'll have a look at the weekly levels down, you know, sometimes even those monthly levels, because it just gives me, it gives me a little bit of distance, I would call it. I distance myself from this, from what we're looking at here. Okay, so let me just go to a full window. It distances me from this. Obviously, I'm just on a 15-minute chart here that I look at a 15-minute and a 5-minute on the TRDR console for execution. As you can see, some supply hitting now. Okay, but looking at the higher time frame down, just distances yourself, which I like's nice, you know, just put this lower time frame price action at arm's length. Okay, and let's just have a look at some key levels on the higher time frame. So we're going to do that now in trading view, just because I've got everything set up in separate tabs, and then we're going to jump back into the all important data in the trader console, okay, to see if we can gain any edge on top of those key levels from a higher time frame. All right, guys, so here we go. So 4-hour chart there. Let's just see what stock's doing. A little bit green. I know we do have some gaps down that could potentially fill as well, which I think that could be a nice play today. I think NASDAQ, ES, everything's got a gap down. Yeah, I've just marked one there. NQ gap fill right down there at that 25,291 or in and around there. So we'll go and have a look at that in a second. Now that could be good because Bitcoin could then give us a Monday low. Potentially, okay, we'll go over that, as tech stocks, ES, mini futures and the rest fill their gaps, yeah? So that'd be a nice play. Let's just have a look at this weekly chart. Okay, so it's still looking nice. Anywhere you shake it, this is a trending chart, yeah? It's a trending chart. Higher highs, higher lows. End of. You've got some key levels here that we need to overcome. Obviously, you've got this 115.5. Okay, let's just keep this as quick as possible because I know the OGs in the room will all know about this anyway. But we've got some key levels here that we need to overcome. 115.5 to 116. Let's just say, why is it? You've got a big chunk of weekly opens and closes here. Really, really simple Forex traders baby pip stuff, okay? But we're going to go over it. We've then got like a middle range there at that 112. Now, where else is that coming from? I will look lower if we turn and start to come lower. But at the minute, I just want to show you where we've come from and where we are potentially going, okay? So 112 here, which is a couple of weekly closes and opens back here, okay? It's also, what is this here? It's also the weekly 21. Now, we've discussed this before. Is the weekly 21 EMA still relevant? Well, it was back in the old days, not so much nowadays. Price does tend to float around it, cut through, test it, but wick above. It's not exactly, you know, to the absolute dollar, but I still like to have it on here, okay? I still like to have it on it. So that is where we've come from, okay? 112. Where is that? Let's go down to a daily chart, okay? Nice and simple. I'm just going to zoom into this here for you, and then I'm going to show you the hive trend, okay? So daily chart, last couple of weeks, when we got the absolute giga nuke the other week, okay, I tried to tell everyone, look, whatever's happened in the market, manipulation by market makers, alts going to zero, because there's, you know, no liquidity, market makers have given up on them, pulled the liquidity and they go to zero, obviously. Whatever your argument is on that, Bitcoin putting in this here still look constructive. Okay, and what I was saying to the members of WHOP was that if this 2-day wick here, so you've got the start of the drop and then you've got the mega drop here, okay, and we were looking for shorts up there, okay. Did we expect this? No. Okay, absolute no LARPing, no bullshit. Did we expect a mega nuke like that? No. Okay, but technically, if that took not 1 day, but 3 or 4 days, even a week to get down here, is it a nice pullback? Yeah, it fucking is, right? Zoom out. Zoom out. Daily chart. It's trending, okay? It's trending. That was a bit of a shit range there, okay? And then you've dropped down, took a few days. This range here is technically the best I've seen in months, yeah? Really nice range in a high time frame trend. And again, not teaching everyone to suck eggs, and I know the OGs in here will know about this, but I just want to go over the thought process, okay? And I do like to do this just for myself, even if we're not live streaming or chatting in the Discord or WHOP. I'll always zoom out to the weekly, to the daily, sometimes the monthly as well, look at these key levels and have a look at where we've come from and where we're potentially going. So last week, what happened after the mega liquidation is we went right back, right back, and we filled some of that wick space, didn't we? Not quite down to that 100k, but for me personally, I think if you were looking to do business in here, okay, I think we dropped to whenever that was on the 17th, 18th. I was traveling on the Friday, so that might have been on the Friday morning, I believe. Guys in the Discord, I was chatting to them and the WHOP, so they might have to correct me on this, but I didn't want to bid 105. I was saying, I don't know about this. I think that's maybe going to crack. And then as the morning went on in that European session, we came down, okay? Then what was your next area of invalidation? It had to be 100k, okay? So I know a couple of the guys in the Discord caught the long at 103 in or around there. So really, really, really well done on that, okay? Nothing wrong with that at all, and you could have even just gone in light there, okay? Just lower the capital. You don't have to be a sharpshooting, high leverage trader. Lower the capital. 100k is my invalidation. We've got strong bid here. I'll have a look at that in the TRDR console in a second. We had really, really good book depth, okay, and a few other things going on. And we've bounced, okay? We've bounced a bit, and we're putting in this range. So here we are now in this range. Yesterday on the daily chart and the 4-hour chart, we were just holding this 4-hour and daily point of control. I think it's actually around 112. I've got a better pull on that on the 4-hour chart, so we'll have a look at that. Okay, so where can we go now in this range and high time frame trend? Potentially from since 2 weeks ago, we're just looking at putting in a higher high now, okay, on this lower time frame daily chart. Okay, lower time frame, it's not lower time frame to some people, is it? Okay, but you're just potentially looking at putting in some higher highs, which we haven't had for a couple of weeks. Okay, if we look at a 4-hour chart, bear in mind, resistance value area high on the daily is actually going to be up near 118, okay? And when we refer back to the TRDR console, that is the next big supply zone, I think. So whether you drop now to some key levels, maybe down to 114 or something, and then volley back up, 118 is your value area high on this daily high time frame range within the trend, okay? So bear that in mind. Then we have some key levels just below coming in at that 114 level. Point of control back at I think I'll look at the 4-hour now because it's around that 112-ish, okay? So this was yesterday. We're just at that 4-hour point of control in that 111.5, I'll call it, to 112 mark. With it being a Sunday, do we know what's going on? Is the liquidity true? Is it a scam pump? You know what? Yesterday in the Discord and the WHOP, I was saying, look, don't short this yet. It's going higher, in my opinion. I had this level at 116 in mind. Is a Sunday pump a scam? Not necessarily. You know, I don't think so anymore. Not necessarily, okay. Maybe you're front running the futures, opening, you know, the CME and stuff on that Sunday night, Monday morning, you know, okay. So look, here we are. This was the last short from last week, 21st. Really, really good trade, right? No denying it. That is a brilliant trade. We TP'd down here because then we just got no movement for like 12, 16 hours or so, okay? So TP in there. Then you could have potentially got some long because I was away from desk. I wasn't really looking at the order flow at that time in there. And what have we done? We've just really ground up, haven't we, on this 4-hour chart? And that's what we're just trending up, grinding up. Sit at the point of control, push, okay, but we do have some nice levels now, okay, so let's just have a look at where we are. So 114, let me just pull that along again, see where we are. 114 is gonna be our value area high of this 4-hour range, okay? Now, what does that mean? Okay, so this is either going to turn into, and we'll soon know this by looking at, you know, zooming into the order flow. This is going to either turn into a wick and a bit of a swing failure pattern. I have to say, it's not looking like that at the minute, though. Or, you know, and you come back down. So this is another high, and we come back down, and we have to auction price again into the lows. Or what you're going to do is you're going to want to come back and start to hold that 114 level, okay? So resistance, down, auction, nice, up, resistance, okay? As easy as this sounds, and it is, it's really, really simple stuff. You basically want, if today I would look for that to hold, you know? 114, 13, 113.8, 113.9, look for that area to hold. Okay, previous resistance to support. Super easy. That's all it has to be sometimes, okay? Now, does that come in timing wise and with confluence of NASDAQ and E-mini futures filling their gap later, you know, maybe in the US session. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, but what you need to look for, obviously, don't just bid these levels, these magic lines on a chart. You know, fucking hell, what's he talking about? Value area high, value area low. Well, you know, they're just lines on a chart. Areas of interest. 116 yesterday, pointing out that, you know, potentially might have shorts around here. It's just a line on a chart, a magic internet money line. We don't action anything until we see the order flow and the volume and the open interest and the full recipe kick in, okay? This morning, I've said to the guys, and I could be wrong here, obviously the market will give what the market wants, but I've not shorted this yet, okay? I've not shorted this yet. There is some supply in the market. We can see that in the OBD ratios and the deltas, okay? But I'm just not completely convinced yet, okay? So I would rather, and sometimes I don't even trade on a Monday. I just leave, I leave the Monday range to play out. You know, maybe you get a Monday high, okay? You get a Monday low. And Bitcoin can ping pong this for the next 24 hours. And then Tuesday, you come and take the Monday low, bang, and that's your long. Yeah, really, really simple. Really, really simple. The fact that we're trending up and news events coming this week, I'm in favour of longs, and I'm also in favour of longs now, just with the fact that bears did a great job here. That short there was absolutely fire and forget. I would take that every single time I saw it. The fact that we came down and they didn't then execute the kill shot, okay, and push us back down into this 103 zone, and we've just ground up, suggests to me that the sellers have dissipated a little bit, okay? They're not as strong, okay? They've done the selling, aggressive closing of positions here, a little bit more selling, and we're done, and we're just floating up, okay? So bears are not quite showing their aggressiveness as we grind up now, okay? So that is our 4-hour chart on BTC. What we're going to do is, let me just zoom into a 1-hour chart and I'll show you what I mean. So look, I would be looking, this is actually a monthly VWAP here as well, which is quite nice to see, because it's been a long month, hasn't it? We're just coming towards the end, month end, but it's nice to see that following up and that it's not floating anywhere a lot lower. So value area high, monthly VWAP 114, 113.8, in and around there. Maybe you come down here, you know, just get a little bit of guidance from the order flow, make that support. Okay, if that comes in when NASDAQ and E-mini futures are filling their gaps to the downside also in the next 24 hours, that would be very, very nice, wouldn't it? Okay, nice and simple. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the order flow and a couple of things that I need to point out to you in the trader console. And then we will pop back into TradingView and have a look at ETH, Sol, and a couple of other charts, again in confluence with the order flow that we are seeing from them. So let's bear this in mind as we move forward. Okay, so 116, we can see it's a little bit of resistance now, and what Nick is currently saying is that I would like 114 to come in as a little bit of support. I have to say at the minute I'm not seeing that. Okay, but it's early on in the day, European session. Let's see what we can figure out in the all-important data. So as I say, grab a link from below for a free trial. If you want to know how I trade this data a little bit more in depth, then go and grab a link for the TRDR Art of Data Driven Market Academy private Discord on there as well. All right, so look, full screen here. I just want to show you full screen. We can see we're in supply. This is 1 to 10% ratio. I still do like a ratio. We do have deltas and totals in here as well, but I'm a bit of an OG user on this console and I still love a ratio. Okay, so we hit these levels yesterday, 115.3, let's call it. We got the weekly open in and around here as well. Monthly open, okay, so that was, seems a long time ago, doesn't it? Okay, but we floated down, we're now back up. Open interest, yeah, okay, let's get some. I'm not going to go too in-depth to the open interest. We have had a nuke on the open interest in the last couple of weeks, obviously from the liquidation runs, haven't we? So I will show you that. But I just want to show you the all-important supply, okay, in the market. So what we've got is, And depending on how your template is set, it might show you a different view to this. I can share this template if anybody wants it. But yeah, we've got a negative 50 ratio and then a 30 in the 1 to up to 5%, okay, from Binance Spot. Right, so that's not mega aggressive, and it's certainly not mega aggressive like it was last Tuesday. I'll go show you that in a second. Coinbase Pro, I still like a little bit of Coinbase Pro. Yeah, they've come off the gas. They had some selling here up at that 115, but not so much now, okay. And then you would say Qcoin are quite aggressive here. They're quite aggressive up to 118. Where is that 118 level coming in? Okay, that was just up towards our value area high on that daily chart, wasn't it, I think? And then you do have, okay, you need to keep an eye on these guys. So there's something to be said for, you know, the data not being as strong on central exchanges as it used to be. There's an argument for that, but for me, in all honesty, I think it's a little bit of bullshit. You know, we do have ETFs and a lot of other things going on that can push the Bitcoin price back and forth. Okay, but you still need to look at the biggest exchanges, central exchanges in the market. And for me personally, I'm still getting an absolutely wealth of knowledge and data from these central exchanges. So, you know, if you see someone saying, oh yeah, the ETF price, that's pushing blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm sure they are, but, you know, the data is still very, very valid here. Now, so we're looking at USDT perpetuals market on Binance, okay? We can see we've got some selling. We've almost got what we'd call double ratios. Now, we would class a double ratio on here in the 1 to 2.5 up to 5% as a 30 and over, okay? So 30 and over is very, very strong. You see Bitfinex are doing some selling into there. I'm not too fussed about what Bitfinex are doing. The OGs over there do tend to hedge positions quite a lot against their spot bags. Let's have a look at what BitMEX are doing. So BitMEX push from the weekend as well. Yeah, I think CoinM Binance, they've got a little bit of bid under price now. So look, let's just point out, so the levels we're looking at, okay, so we've got this 116 resistance today. Now, this could be your high, okay, and you've got a couple of offers just coming in on price now. Now, we do have this double ratio selling, okay. Do I want to short this right now? You could just put your stop over that high. I don't really want to. I'm a little bit more patient nowadays, and I'm quite happy to just watch the price action play out, at least for the next few hours, to be honest. I really, really am. You know, even I've told the guys in the Discord and the WHOP before that sometimes I'll only take 2, maybe 3 trades a week. If that means I have to just sit and watch that range play out that we just discussed on a Monday, that's what I'll do. You know, if I miss this, say that we get a bit of that and then we go down and hit that 114, if I miss that, I'm not bothered, because the likelihood is that on the Tuesday you will come back and take one of those out, and that's your trade anyway. Okay, so that's kind of the position I'm in today. I want to see the price action play out, and at the minute, what, you know, if I'm looking at this chart, yes, I can see some supply. I can see we've hit some high open interest here from the RSI metric. Okay, very, very good piece of data we've got going on here. What am I looking for if I want to aggressively short this or aggressively bid it? I'd like to see some big fat top levels come in. What are the top levels? Well, resting limit orders in the book, aren't they? Okay, so yes, market orders push price around, don't they? Okay, resting limit orders in the book, they just fucking sit there until they get filled. If they are then large enough, they will then move price, won't they? Okay, or they can certainly defend an area as well. They don't always fill, but big orders can defend areas in the order book. So market orders are going to push price around, but I'd like to see some big fat orders in the book to gain a little bit of edge in the market on where we go next. So yes, I'm looking at 114, 113.8 to come in. Cheeky, who is that? Hello, sir. Hello. You know, yes, I'm looking at this level to hold, but I'm not seeing any evidence that we're going to go there yet. Okay, so even if you're a scalper, because I'm saying I'd like 114, do you just short the market down thinking you're going to get that now? No, I'd rather just sit and watch the price action play out. And from most of the other exchanges, as you know, that we like to do, I'm not seeing any big order blocks here, right now. You know, until we get higher up. We obviously saw Qcoin had that 118. Spot markets don't have any order blocks till 120, right? So maybe it's the case. Maybe it's the case you have a little wick down. Okay, you might not even see much from here, the data. You might not even see the longs get aggressive here. It might just be a case that you wipe out a few more late longs from the Sunday pump, okay, and then move up to that 120 today. Maybe, okay, maybe. So other things we can look at on Bitcoin at the minute in this Monday European session, that is my kind of plan at the minute. Okay, we'll go back over this at the end, but yeah, is this a high? I need to see a low put in as well for the Monday. Do we action a trade today because maybe the bid turns really aggressive and sends up to that 120? That would be good. If not, I'm quite happy to chill and wait to then strike an auction price here a little bit, you know, and then go from there. Volume, let's have a quick look at volume. Volume's obviously going to be up since the move up yesterday. Open interest high, funding's pretty chilled. Yeah, nothing to see here, If you are a mega bear, for some sadist reason, and we just push up, maybe let's, you know, consider all things. Maybe you just push up to 120 today in the next few hours, okay? That's going to be an easier short trade, I would say, than right here, right now. You've got potential for putting in some bearish divergences. Okay, lower time frame. The open interest getting high. Retail traders in red here are just getting a little bit frisky and chasing price up, aren't they? Yeah. So trying to short price action on an illiquid Saturday, Sunday, when price is sat at a point control in a range, and they're short in the market. No reason to. Volume's up, okay? So not much edge in volume here, right now, unless we go a little bit higher and confirm some lower time frame bearish divergences with that high open interest. All right, guys? Higher time frame, though, I just want to show you something. Let's go to a 4 hour, and I might need to reset this. Okay, so look, this is what I was showing everybody last week, 2 weeks ago, when we had that massive liquidation run. Was this is anytime you hit these kind of metrics, this is not a time. It's very unfortunate. I hope everyone stayed safe and still has capital in the market. This is when you hit these data points, and we've been trading this. This template has adjusted a tiny bit over the years, but not much. Okay, so I've got an RSI open interest metric on here again, and then we've just got the liquidity in the books. Anytime the liquidity gets wiped like this is not a time to short your shorts and chase. Okay, it's a time for risk on. Last time we had it looking like this was back in April. Back there. Okay, really mega nuke on everything. I could zoom in a bit closer, but absolute open interest nuked. We're in negative funding. Spot books nuked. Pet books nuked. Okay, so I'm not gonna go over that too much, because again, a lot of people will understand this template. I have got a YouTube video on it as well called The Liquidity King. But what we're more often, just very quickly, more often what we see is when the order books are absolutely wiped out, it's very easy to float price up. Okay, so what this wick is, this wick's almost, you call this a liquidation bounce. Okay, liquidation bounce, you roll over. Okay, you start to auction price, and then you see that the bulls are starting to get a bit serious. So now, right here, right now, we've got a rise in open interest, but you could say that you did back here and price ground up for a good few days. Okay, liquidity in the books, I would say, is still on the bullish side. Why is that? Spot books are doing a little bit of selling, as we can see, but why wouldn't you? This late in the year, this late in the cycle. And actually, I've got something else to show you on the cycle side of things, actually, from on-chain Bitcoin data. Yeah, of course, people are going to be doing a little bit of selling. You know, if you're not an absolute Michael Saylor moon boy thinking this is going to 200k in the next couple of weeks, and you've done very well this year, winter coming, not to sound like a Game of Thrones northerner, but winter's coming. People are due to do taxes. Okay, so however they want to manage that. If they're doing a little bit of selling, they're going to have to obviously pay cap gains on that. But yeah, you're gonna get a bit of selling here, right? Okay, but one thing to say is Liquidity King template is still pretty much suggestive of risk on, higher time frame, risk on, risk on. Okay, perps books wiped out. Why is that? Well, everyone got liquidated, didn't they? Unfortunately, everybody got absolutely liquidated, didn't they? All right, so one thing I want to show you. Let me just refresh this and go back a second. Just quickly, really quickly. Come on. Oh, let me go to a 15-minute. There we go. Right, so last week's, just quickly go over where we've come from. Okay, 15-minute time frame. I just want to zoom out. Okay, so we'll cover this in a second. Okay, so this was 17th, yeah, 17th. Okay, so this was our bounce down, not a bounce down, but our when we came down to fill the wick space, wasn't it? Okay, so this was the 17th, which was a Friday, actually, I believe, and we were watching this come down. Said to the guys, 105, not in this yet, don't really want to trade this soon, let it come down a little bit. And yeah, of course, being a greedy trader, I wanted as close to 100k as possible. Turns out we got 103, didn't we? The orange crosses here, okay, we were getting green crosses already, so these are warning signs, yeah? Don't be an alert trader. So this is from the alert system in the TRDR console. So don't be an alert trader. Sometimes you'll get an alert and it's basically saying, look at the chart, yeah? Just have a look at the chart. Sometimes you'll get an alert and you'll say to yourself, shit, yeah, I need to be in this now. But sometimes it's just a warning sign. And what we always say is you want to be as close and around to these order blocks as you can. As we came down to the 105, I was saying to the guys in Discord and WHOP, no, okay, a little bit lower, to be honest, okay? And it was basically because at that time, all the exchanges weren't quite in confluence, okay? And you could just see you were just going to slightly break that 105. We came down, okay, we didn't quite get as low as I would have liked, but isn't that always the case? And we volleyed back up. So double diamonds there, which is from our alert system, BTC double diamond, if anybody needs that. Okay, then let us know. And yes, these are alerts that show on the chart. No, absolutely lagging data. This is pure raw data on the chart. Okay, guys. So look, that's where we've come from. Okay, Nick goes on his jollies. Okay, and this was last Tuesday, was it? 21st? This was last Tuesday, okay? So this was, when I looked at the charts and I was on my mobile phone, when I looked at the charts on the 21st and saw this huge supply, so if you compare this to where we are now, we're at negative 400 on the ratio 1 to 10%. I think we're about negative 200 at the minute, okay? So not quite as aggressive. If we look at the spot chart here, what do you have in defense as well? You've got a massive order block in defense. You've got double diamond selling ratios going on, along with normal selling ratios as well. And what I just want to show you is the perps chart as well, because it was absolutely crazy. I'm going to have to, let me just go to, this is quicker, isn't it, than scrolling back. Look at that on the perps chart. Okay, so I tweeted out and said to one, this is an absolute cloud of death. Now, seeing this aggressiveness, okay, this is a great trade all day long, absolutely all day long, okay? And if you see this on the bull side as well, it's, you know, just let me just invert this. If you see that, that's a long all day long. Imagine that's green, imagine that's red. That's a long all day long, yeah? Okay, seeing that last week, just to highlight where we've come from and where we're potentially going now with our levels, okay? Seeing that last week, that drop there, I was thinking, okay, bears are super aggressive here. This is going to come right back down. This might give us our 102, 101. And then waking up the next day, what you almost have to do is look at the price action and say to yourself, okay, so we've got a little bit of depth coming back in. And what I was watching as I was away on my mobile phone was just the open interest was so subdued and nuked. And then we bounced around there from the 22nd. I woke up very happy down here, short position, great. And then as time goes on, okay, for almost 24 hours or so, you've got to say to yourself, okay, price isn't moving very well now. Bears have done a great job there, sinking price. Now they're not doing a very good job of that continuation down, okay? And then we started to find a bit more bid, and we actually, at this point here, if anyone was watching that, I personally wasn't, on the 22nd, at the end of the US session, triple ratio bid on perps, and actually your ratio depth in the 1 to 10% went up to 800 million, right? It's a good depth, really good depth, okay? So just wanted to highlight that. the previous couple of weeks, where we come from and where we're going. We know what we want to see today. I'm not particularly up for short in this right here, right now, despite some negative ratios in the book. I'm quite up for just watching the price action for the next couple of hours, and what we'll do is we'll go over a couple of alts as well. So it's always nice to say to yourself, okay, if I think BTC can come down a little bit, maybe 114 or lower, okay, do we have some confluence with the altcoins? Okay, if that is what percentage we're looking at, if we want to come down and find some support down here somewhere, 2%, 1.52%, it's not much, it could easily do that. Okay, but I need to see that bid if we're going to get fresh longs. Then what's nice to say to yourself is, okay, let's have a look at some altcoins then and see what data is coming in with the altcoins. One thing else I want to show you is, this flashed up the other week as well, which is, if anyone's unfamiliar with this, this is actually our on-chain data analysis, which I'm really pleased we've got an indicator for this, basically because if you go to Bitcoin Pro magazine, you will find all the scores for the on-chain Bitcoin data, like the MRV scores and everything else. Okay, but this is really nice. So Blofin, he's actually on Twitter as well, got this indicator made, and I've got this on the weekly and daily chart. Now, what I was pointing out to the guys the other week was, on this indicator, we do have our first since the lows here, because it's all green. Sell your grandma, sell your hamster, sell your dog, sell everything, go long. Okay, in this zone here, which we obviously know was well back in 23. Okay, now we're just getting our first tickles of red. Okay, now what is that? That's actually, I've looked at this, and it's actually our seasonality. Okay, it's actually, I'll show you it on a daily chart as well. It's actually our seasonality indicator. Okay, was been flashing red since the 20th of September. Now, that's not a sell everything, this is a top kind of indicator, but this red here is just telling us that since the halving, the Bitcoin halving, okay, we're just historically in a little bit, getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves now. Okay, time's getting on. Okay, if you still believe in cycles, which I'm unsure of, to be honest, I'm not saying I do, I'm not saying I don't. I think the price action on Bitcoin will change as time goes on, with ETFs and the bankers having coins. Everybody's fucking selling their coins to the bankers and sailor. I think price action will change. Technically, it's still trading very nice, as you can see, BTC in a range here, but if you're still a believer in cycles of Bitcoin, then you should appreciate that we are quite late in our cycle now. Yeah, so if you imagine the FTX crash years and years and years ago, you know, was the capitulation event, and then we've been up only since then. That was ages ago, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so just a little warning again. I can share this template, but if you just go search BB de Prof, he's got bottom indicator and top indicator, and all I've done is just merge them into one here. Seasonality in this cycle, if you're still a cycle believer, is just telling us we're historically a little bit late in the cycle now. All right, guys, so a couple of other things to look at with you. We'll have a look at some altcoins, shall we? Okay, so I must have a little espresso. So basically, I want to have a look at ETH, Sol, hype, good stuff, yeah. As I say, most of the other coins are trading very similar, a little bit shit, to be honest. I'm not too interested in trading most of them at all, unless they've got a really nice chart, or the order books are giving me some real edge, like IP yesterday. You know, IP really bullish chart, a little bit of negative funding, it's in the lows of a 4-hour structure. Am I going to long it? Yes, all day long. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the bigger coins. ETH. Okay, ETH has been down, so yeah, almost like a double top, sell everything pattern there, as Tom Lee shills it. You come down in this downtrend. ETH was forming this range here. Okay, forming a range, and again, actually, ETH is trading very nice. Look at this structure here. So I was a little bit out of tune with what was going on with some of the bigger coins like ETH and Sol, because obviously being away last week. But technically, I pulled this chart up yesterday, and I thought, God, that is a nice chart. Downtrend range, auction the lows. Okay, you auction the lows, your value area lows are the here. So wick, back test, auction the highs, you've still got sellers present, down, auction the lows, value area low here. Okay, bounce, up, okay, down, auction the lows again. Really nice big wick. That would have been a nice long, wouldn't it? Come back, point of control's quite low at that 3.8 level, and up. And then technically, which is interesting for a Sunday, even on an altcoin, isn't it? What did you do here? Okay, so you bust through that old resistance, you've back tested the value area highs, support, and you're up. Okay, now I'd be looking for a similar thing on ETH. Okay, you've got a monthly VWAP here at that 4100, so let's bear some of these levels in mind when we go back to the TRDR console. Okay, and then let's just call it 4K. Let's just call it 4K. That's a little bit of a nasty 4-hour wick there. Am I bothered by that? No, not really. Yeah, you could call it, so yeah, 4.1 or 4K. And then what you want to do here is, and then again, why I don't want to really short ETH at the minute is because I'm just eyeballing this level here. So like Bitcoin took out that 116, you've taken out this one here, haven't you, with a bit of a wick, but you've still got a bit of liquidity there to take out. So let's see if we can take that today. I think if you're going to short the market now, your execution needs to be absolutely spot on, or the sellers need to show their hand as being so aggressive like last week on Bitcoin, because bears have done a bit of a shit job, and we're still grinding up at the minute. Okay, and what are you potentially doing here? The same on Bitcoin. So you've got lower highs, okay, but you've actually got a kind of meme triangle going on, because you've got higher lows here, higher low here. Yeah, you know, tiny amount, okay, but potentially what you're doing in here, that was pointing out to the guys, was look, you can look for a short on Bitcoin today at 116 or in and around there. You can look for a short on other assets, but just bear in mind that what you're actually doing is putting in, and this is the same for BTC and a few other assets as well, you're putting in a higher high here. Okay, so is the more advantage with waiting a little bit? You know, say you go up and the sellers get super aggressive here, yeah, just fucking short it, of course you're gonna, you know, but is there advantage in just waiting to see if you come down again, you know, put in a higher low once again? I think that's a better risk reward trade now that you're breaking structure, and you're going to see that on a few assets. Okay, so with ETH pushing up as well, 4.1 to 4K. Obviously, what we do is we go back to the TRDR console and we have a look at the ETH order flow. Okay, so nice, little bit of supply, obviously, because it's just pushing out of that range highs. What do we have here on the spot chart? Okay, so open interest coming down, depth of book is fainting a little bit. Now, one thing I do have to say is you will see this more often than not when price moves away, especially on a liquid weekend. So price is moving away from the bid, right? So some people will, I've seen this on Twitter as well, and I'm not saying they're reading it wrong, but sometimes they'll say, oh shit, yeah, but there's no depth of book. Well, yeah, because price has just moved away and everyone's out for a Sunday lunch, stuff in the face with roast beef, potatoes, and top class wine, right? So they're left in the dust, especially on weekend like that. So yeah, you're more than likely to see this on assets into a Monday where price has moved up. The book will get a little bit thin. So that's more often than not why we need to auction price, auction a high, auction a low, see who wants it more, yeah? But right here now on ETH, again, similar to BTC, I'm not seeing anything really particularly at 4K. It's just this level here. If in doubt, look left. Some offers pinning price there. If you're a scalper, that might be a potential little short down. Okay, but yeah, not seeing much on ETH here really either, right here, right now. So technically those are the levels I want to look at. It's nice to see that perps have got a level here though. That is nice to see. So we might need to just check the perps books on ETH a little bit, because they have been good at supporting price. Okay, so perps books on ETH at the minute a little bit better than BTC, I would say. Why? Offer, you know, does its job to a certain extent. You've got these offers here on price, hold price down, bid following up. So bid follows up, bid, price move, offer lifted. Okay, offer lifted, bid moving up. Okay, top offer there, lifted now to a certain extent, or come off, bid still moving up. Okay, so this is nice to see. So technically we'd like to see 4K hold on ETH, or 4.1, and we're seeing some nice levels there. Okay, so that's good to see. Actually, a better chart than BTC. Okay, so that's what we're looking for on ETH. Maybe a Monday low. Do we rise up again today? Not sure on ETH. I think ETH will follow BTC to a certain extent, but I do prefer the books on ETH. Anything else to see on ETH? I don't think so. I think volume and everything will probably look the same. Yeah, probably. Right, so let's have a look at Soyboy Sol. I'm hoping that he doesn't get a pardon from Trump. That will be a market top, I can tell you right now. So Sol obviously had a very, very nasty wick from the liquidation event the other week. Since then, okay, I almost have to go back and ignore a lot of the previous, and especially with a wick like that. But one thing to say is Sol, again, can be a very, very nice technical chart. Trend, trend, trend. Double top high, very good short up there. Have to say that I shorted Sol up there and didn't hold it all the way through this, held it back to the trend line there. We break, we push back up, we back test the trend line 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Giga nuke. Okay, I don't know if I was watching the price action at that point there, but there was probably a good short in there from the TRDR console as well, right? So where are we now? Okay, so one thing to say as well, and Sol is a lot larger volume asset than some altcoins. Okay, if you are still inclined to trade a lot of shitty little altcoins, I'm talking like Neo, Dash, you know, some of them dinosaur ones and some of the memes that literally nearly went to zero because there was no liquidity on them the other week. Will they go down and fill some of these wicks more, like BTC did? They either will because they're just dead, all right, and they get taken off exchanges and shit, or no, I would say they probably won't because some of the wicks were so ridiculous. You know, obviously Binance went down, market makers gave up on the market, some market makers nearly blew up. I don't know if they will. If it's a decent project and a good volume coin like on Sol, will Sol go back down to 143 anytime soon? Maybe. I can always be wrong, of course, and it's a nice way to think, but with BTC trending or trying to trend up like it is, as we potentially come into a bullish quarter with Fed rate cuts, argue whether that's baked in or not, of course. I don't know. I don't think so. Not right now. You know, I wouldn't be looking to short Sol here, saying you know, oh, it hasn't filled its wick, so I'm going to short it. Okay, and I'm not seeing that in the data straight away. So Sol range here again, a little bit like ETH. I think the ETH chart is cleaner. I think this is a little bit more messy. So Sol has got a high of its range, okay, which was resistance, broke through. Okay, so Sol's potential support has to be around just under 200, or we'll call it a 200 mark. Okay, now it does have a point of control here though, which would actually take some of those weekend candles as well. I'd be more interested in the point of control. Why? Well, it's probably a similar percentage down to what BTC needs to get and what Nasdaq needs to get and what E-mini futures need to get to fill their gap. Okay, so for me, Sol could hold here, and I'll show you in the order flow in a second anyway, that the perps market is certainly bidding Sol right here, right now. So we'll see if that holds. It could do. So 197, call it 200 on Sol. I'm also interested in the 193 level on Sol there. So with that being said, let's jump into TRDR and I'll show you those levels. So let's go to Sol, Soy Boy Sol. So not much to say on the spot market apart from, again, nice chart because bid has been following up. We've got a nice open interest nuke, so potentially we could get ready for fresh longs as it's trending up. But I just want to show you the perps market because it's very, very nice. Okay, so what we got here, okay, so people are already bidding this in the perps market, saying that this is a resistance to support flip. Okay, what is the next level down? 190. So what did I say for the point of control? Where's the point of control? Yeah, 193. You call it 190 if you want. So 193, 190 for the point of control. 200 for the high. Okay, so yeah, I would bear in mind this might just hold here. This might just hold, but bear in mind your point of control is a little bit lower, just down here. So you could push through there, re-hit the point of control, take out some of this liquidity here from the weekend, which is always the better risk-reward trade, and then get a rotation up if BTC finds its demand also. So Sol, again, very, very nice technical chart, I do believe. Right, another one to look at, and then drop in the chat if there's any others you need to look at with us today, and then we can have a look at why is XRP Lizard Coin up there. I am looking at that. Hype. Okay, I think Hype has had a very nice chart. So again, this is actually a similar chart to Sol. So range, trend. okay, put in a high, bit of a blow off, down, okay, break trend, hype, okay, back up, double test, so test, similar to what Sol did, apart from did it 3 times, and down, okay, so really, really nice technical chart. Then, let me just zoom in a little bit, then what have you had here? So absolute mega wick, oh God, that's disgusting, that, isn't it? That is absolutely disgusting. Well done to anyone that did hold shorts down, and if you could get out, if you could take profit on any of your altcoin shorts into those kind of lows, you've done very, very well. I would be surprised, you'd have to market order out your take profits and just hope for the best as price bounces up and down. But yeah, hype, downtrend, 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 bounce, back test, okay, a little bit of a dubious trend line here, but you could say back test the trend line and up. So hype is looking very, very, very good. So right here, right now, I can't say this is a range or anything. It looks a little bit Adam and Eve pattern, if anyone's familiar with that pattern. Hype could get some real good continuation here. So I would be looking, let's say 45, which is our monthly open, but it is an old monthly open. We're right near the end of the month now. I'm going to get rid of some of these levels, and really, yeah, I'm not sure on hype. I'm going to have to just watch the order flow, to be honest. Let's get rid of that as well. So monthly open, and if in doubt, look left as always, and you've got a little bit of confluence in this zone here. And let's pull a quick fixed range, and I'll use it like a volume profile from way back. Oh, I've got one there. That'll do, sir. Thank you very much. Let's just have a look. The only trouble if you're pulling any kind of volume profile at the minute on alts and stuff is this wick is really going to skew your data, I would say. So yeah, I've got a point of control there, 44. So 44, 45, and it's holding quite well. I would have a look at 44, 45 on hype. I wouldn't be looking to short this at all because it's moving really, really well until it gets at least to that 51. Okay, so let's call it 45 and 50. Let's call it 45 and 50. Let's zoom back a little bit. Okay, hype. Let's have a look. Yeah, so bids. So there we go, 51. And I hadn't even looked at this chart earlier. Show me the chart, I'll tell you the news and all that shit. So yeah, I'm not looking to short hype at all until it gets at least up to that 51, and then we'll see how aggressive the selling is. And since it did do that break and change of trend, the offers have not held price at all. You know, there's nothing wrong with seeing offers in like this. There could be big fat take profits on longs anyway, either way. Yeah, so hype has got some bid down here to 44. That's where your lower bands go through. You can just see there you've almost got a 69-70 ratio in the 2.5 to 5. What I would then do is, if we do come down on hype, is this, that becomes your invalidation down here in that 44. So if you're looking to trade hype in the next few hours, 24 hours, I would be patient here. And why would I be patient as well? Like I always say, try not to trade, just look left, even on a 15-minute chart, look left, right, and don't trade in there. Draw yourself, if you have to, literally, right, draw yourself a physical box and say to yourself, I ain't trading in there, right? I'm not trading in there. You want a deviation, okay? So yes, Nick wants 51. I don't think that comes anytime soon. I think you're more than likely going to come down and fill some of this first, which would be good. And then I would aim for that 51. If you just bounce up out anywhere, that is your bigger deviation there, isn't it? Okay. But all I'm saying is look left, don't trade in this, in the beach, right? Don't trade in the beach, what I call the crab zone. Wait for that deviation. So we know that this could potentially be a nice trade on hype as well. Monthly VWAP and monthly open around there. Right, is there any other coins? I still call them coins, that we need to look at. ASTER has been an absolute diabolical market makers, liquidity. It's just washing everyone out, isn't it? I would call this almost Yeah, it's bollocks. It's an absolute bollocks chart, to be honest. ASTER, yeah, I really don't know. It probably does well. I've got it next to hype, obviously, because these two are going to be a little bit of competition. CZ's behind ASTER. So if the order books become really, really good on ASTER, I'm interested to trade it. Oh, what have we just seen here? 10 fart coin to anyone that can tell me what we're just looking at there on the break of a downtrend. That is interesting. So in actual fact, we might need to go and look at the order flow. Anyone liking this? So yeah, look, 90% of your trading is, you know, looking at charts. You spend thousands and thousands and thousands. I think could say I'm probably well over 20,000 hours looking at charts now. You know, some people say, where do you get your edge? Well, sometimes it's just time served, the amount of time you are looking at charts. I quite like the look of this, but it doesn't mean I'm going to trade it. All right, it looks pretty nice. That is an inverse head and shoulders potentially, so it looks pretty nice. Do we? If you were just pure TA, you would start to bid this now. Okay, you would start to bid that now. Probably with your stops under the left-hand shoulder there. That looks quite nice. So now that I've seen that looks quite nice. Okay, let me just pull this. So you've got a potential. You've got a potential. Do I have a? Let me just pinch that. I do love a copy pasta. Let me just pinch that. Okay, you've got potential inverse head and shoulders on ASTER on the break of downtrend within this lower time frame range in what's potentially the value area lows, okay, of the range. Let me just change that. So this looks nice. Okay, so when you see something that's nice, okay, pattern recognition, you're flicking through all your shitcoin charts, you see this, oh, inverse head and shoulders, that looks nice. What's next? Okay, do you just bid this blindly? No, we have a look at the order flow, yeah? So let's have a look at the order flow on ASTER. Does anyone want to get aggressive here and start to bid it? No, not at the minute. Now, one thing I would say is, and I'm hoping that the guys at the Trader Console can introduce this soon, because I think we have spot markets on ASTER. So that'd be nice, because that will give us some really, really good data, because the perps chart, I do have to say, is a mess. And if the perps chart is looking a mess because you've got constant bid or ask, a lot of this messiness just comes from, you know, maybe the exchange, maybe the market makers. Don't want to keep repeating market makers. That just sounds like a meme, doesn't it? You know, but if the chart is looking a mess, the cleaner way to look at it is just literally get up your top levels like that, okay? So I can share this template if anyone wants it, okay? So we do have some bid now, okay? We do have some bid now. We've got offers above, so it looks like price is pinned a little bit. ASTER is one, because I've seen that inverse head and shoulders, it's potentially one I do want to keep an eye on. So it's at the top of my watch list anyway. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I do have it set in my alerts also. I think it's in... oh no, because we've only got the perps market, what I would do is, if you haven't got it already, get your perps alt double bands open, which I've got, okay, long, okay, and then we have ASTER there, okay, so that's going to alert me when we see some significant strong bid from the perps market, which we've got the data for, okay, and then all we do is we'll have a look and see if we want to trade it, okay, but yeah, maybe this level holds, you know, so if you're a little bit sharpshooter and you want an invalidation, at the minute your invalidation, you maybe have about 2% below that wall. Bear in mind that we're looking for BTC and other coins to come lower, so maybe you just come down and take some of this weekend liquidity here, and that inverse head and shoulders would still be valid, wouldn't it? Okay, you could come right down to this value area low at 1.02, call it, if you want to get a little bit technical, which would give us you the very, very value area low of this lower time frame range. So 1.02, let's just flip back. Let's flip back, 1.02, yeah, just down into here. You know, you could come fill some of this. So I'm happy to wait for some of that and then see if the bid gets a little bit more aggressive on ASTER. In no hurry to bid an altcoin in this European session right here, right now. My concentration is going to be on some of the bigger assets. So Hype a little bit lower, BTC a little bit lower if we can get it, and then we'll move from there. Okay. Right, drop in the chat if you've got any other coins you need me to look at. But yeah, main ones we're looking at there. That's what I want to concentrate on. Quick look at RV and CRV. I still do like looking at RV and CRV. Teo, that's it. Let's go to a 15-minute chart. So Teo is holding okay here. So I had a little bit of long on Teo yesterday, but what I said to the guys in WHOP and Discord was, it's the weekend, okay, and the bid isn't super aggressive, so really your stops need to be under 388. That's what my kind of idea yesterday was. Now, we bounced up. We didn't invalidate that long yesterday under 388. We only came down to 397 there. But this morning, as I woke up, we were just starting to roll over. And also, what do you notice on the chart? As you wake up the next morning and you're still holding a little bit long and price is coming back down to your entry, you've got an order block here. Okay, you've got an order block at 384. So I'm interested to now, let's do this the other way. Yeah, so let's look at the order flow, which we can see here, and then go and look at the technical tier. So yeah, I'm interested in tier because it looks like the bid is moving up to meet price. You've got higher offers right up there at 450. So if you can get some tier down here, as potentially BTC, ETH, and a couple of the others come down, that's going to be a really nice trade, isn't it? So I'm really, really interested in that. For now, I did say to the guys, it was in WHOP earlier on, TPs, we may put in some lows today with BTC Monday range, high, low, then direction Tuesday, potentially. So when I woke up, I was still holding, that's the Teo long from yesterday. I was still holding a little bit of that long, as I was just showing the guys here from Breakout Prop. But yeah, then sometimes you don't capitulate, you know, especially if it's when you're fast asleep. I'm a little bit older than you guys. I need my beauty sleep. You know, you wake up, price starts to roll over. For me personally, on a Monday, I just cut the trade. It's nice to be on a little bit of a plus as we enter Monday. I'll cut the trade and re-review, but especially as I'm seeing a little bit of that. Okay, so look, 384.9, that's a bit of a random number, isn't it? But let's go and have a look at where that is. But, you know, already you can kind of see that what will that do? It's going to take some of this weekend liquidity. Again, best risk reward is always when you take a little bit of weekend liquidity. Yo, what's up, Rude Soup? Didn't see you in there, mate. Hope you're all good. Hope everyone's all good. Jump in the chat if there's anything you need me to look at. Yeah, I won't chat shit for too long. What we'll do is, just while I get Teo up here, is I will do another live session. I'm going to do a live session this week for the WHOP members, so jump in there if you're interested in getting a little bit more in-depth analysis. And TA, we're probably going to start to cover stocks a little bit in WHOP as well. So jump in there, session by session analysis and more trade entries and exits and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to do a members stream for the WHOP guys and girls as well this week, where we can go a little bit more in detail to certain things. And then what I think I'm also going to do is probably a live stream which is music and chat again, especially if we hit that volatility Wednesday night, Thursday. So I might do a live stream Wednesday night, Thursday, which is just the data on screen and the music playing, and then I'll be in the text chat because obviously I'll be trying to concentrate on order execution. Right, so Teo, let me just go to a fuck's sake, what was that level? This is how you know when you're getting a little bit older. 384.9 384.9. I'm gonna have to just go to a daily chart on Teo and have a look at it. Wow, that is a big fat range, isn't it? Yes, I am going to pull a fixed range. I'm not going to include last year's data. I'm just going to go from January of this year. Right, hope I've still got my copy paste. I have, because let's have a value area high there. So this is a nice chart, and I think Teo is a good project, to be honest. Still, I think it's quite an active team. I like the order flow on it. Okay, so this is another thing to look at is if the order flow is nice and you are getting good data, so good data, good volume on the asset, and the chart still looks okay, you know it's still active, people are trading it for one reason or another, okay, perps and spot. So I don't care what the altcoin is, if it's got a nice chart like this and I'm getting good data, I'll trade it. Yeah, so let's just, I don't know what that white line is, so let's just start afresh. So Teo range, yeah. Resistance 450. Okay, so that is where our top level was coming in, was it? It might have been a little bit higher actually. 450. Isn't it funny how it always makes confluence, doesn't it? So 450, 385. 450, 385. So 450 is our value area high of the range. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, so you imagine sometimes it's as simple as maybe some people held long. Maybe they've held long since whenever ICO, and they see this. They get time capitulation, you know, maybe they're not just trading a range, maybe they hold some spot and they see this level get hit, comes down, and they're getting bored. Okay, since June, comes up, I'll just wait till it comes up here. It doesn't, because it auctions a little bit lower, comes down, comes up again. They have some, you know, they want to take profit or do a bit of selling on spot on up here. They miss it, it comes down again, it wicks, you know, they absolutely shit the bed. Fuck, right, I just want out of this asset. That's where your supply comes from more often than not on stuff like this. So your perps books will have supply and be more dynamic because traders are trading ranges. But your spot supply sometimes just comes from absolute boredom and capitulation of traders saying, fuck's sake, when it gets up to, you know, this 450 or 500 level again, right, that's it, I'm out, I've had enough of this project. And generally what happens when a chart looks nice like this is it'll come down again, it'll find that bid, right, and it'll go bang, they'll come out of spot, and then we'll just fucking carry on, right? So I'll screenshot this at some point. If TEO absolutely takes off in the coming weeks, I'm going to screenshot this and we'll remember this conversation. But yeah, generally that's more what happens, because spot traders and bag holders hit capitulation, time capitulation, and say fuck that. You know, they're not patient enough. Unlike XRP and link holders, who are very patient and just hold through forever, aren't they? So yeah, look, 384 monthly VWAP, that is where our bid's coming in, so that's nice to see. Okay, if we can get a little bit lower, it's going to give you a better risk reward. But let's just zoom into the 4 hour there. So there you go. Yeah, okay, so look, just coming back to what's potentially support, yeah? So 390, anywhere down there, you could probably pull some kind of fib and, you know, get your crystal ball out and pull some kind of fib and get some confluence down there as well. 381. No wonder it's finding some support. Fibs are brilliant. Yeah, 381, anywhere around there, but 390, 381, TEO I'm interested in. It's a very, very nice chart. Technically a nice chart. It's in a range. It's a good range. It looks a little bit like ETH, so happy to trade a bit of TEO. That's why it's at the top of my watch list. That's why I've got alerts set on it. We've got the spot order book, we've got USDT order book. It's bid on BTC as well. I don't even need to look at that, just look at your ratios here. So BTC TEO, it's a bit of an old school way of thinking, but yeah, it still looks good. Okay, so yeah, if we can come down into this zone on TEO in the coming hours, happy to wait for that. I'm not going to trade it until it comes back down there again. Okay, so yesterday trading in this zone, invalidation 388, taken that trade off because these walls have, you know, this guy might have filled here, but it's come out. BTC looks like a potential wants a bit lower, so that is the zone for TEO. Yo, what's up, Ali? Been out training for hours, interested prior. If you have a chance, can you describe what you have going on in there? If you go into the WHOP, there's a free section on WHOP, but basically, so a couple of ways to connect with me a bit better. I've got WHOP link lower. I've got a free section that we do the odd live session on, and then we've got the trade pit, where basically in the trade pit I do some private live sessions for these guys, which the last live session we did was just before I went away. So I did a members live stream for those guys, just posting a bit more in here. Yeah, there you go, WHOP exclusive. Trading, I just give a little bit more updates in here. Okay, so session by session, day by day when I'm on desk. I was away from desk last week, so I was traveling last week, but did say to the guys that, you know, I'll keep in touch and have a look at what is going on. Dropped back in the chat yesterday, give all these levels yesterday. Also last week while I was traveling on the 21st, did on my mobile short BTC, absolute huge selling from Peps and spot, market order in on mobile, not advised but had to take it. Okay, and then a day later, not seeing much demand just yet, lower highs on 4 but no lower low yet, got a short entry at 12.5k, so we'll probably hold that, still away from desk, but had to take it the trade when I saw the books. And then I think it was we were looking, I was hoping, and then this was a few hours later again, was hoping to get back down to that 102, maybe even 100k again. But then, you know, as time goes on, even though I'm traveling, basically what I can't remember what it is, TP on my short, think we can go low, but can't monitor for the next few hours since 24-hour trade. Nice 24 hours, so it was only 24 hours later that basically we're TPing on that short. So yeah, bit more in depth on here, you know, entries, exits, what I'm seeing session by session. Also we do have the Discord as well, the trader Discord, which is the, you know, they've got the alpha traders in here. This was designed more to help with people who are doing the TRDR course. So if you see the link for the TRDR course, you get access to the alpha traders in here. Now this was designed more for help for people who have done the course. You know, have you got any questions? Is there anything you're unsure of? Get involved in the TRDR Discord, which is brilliant as it is anyway. You should be in here anyway, because DK and some of the OGs do 2 live sessions a week. You've got to be watching those. If you're not watching those, you're mental. DK's live sessions are brilliant. But yeah, for anyone that did want some extra help, we have the alpha traders in here. Now, potentially we do post the odd, you know, setups in here as well. And obviously thoughts on the market, you know, what is going on, what we are looking for. Obviously, yesterday, my time, 6:40 p.m, higher all round in my honest opinion, and that was BTC, and we got there. Then just this morning, woke up, no reason to short this yet. Posting those levels for everyone. Now we do post trades for everyone in here as well, but it's not, you know, it's not, I wouldn't call any of them signal groups, but it's certainly not a signal group. You know, it's just you know, the Discord, a little bit more help, we post some trades. WHOP I would say I'm probably a little bit more in depth in there at the minute. You know, session by session, you know, session by session. Okay, so yeah, have a look at those, see what you think. Like Teo here, for instance, you know, say BTC comes down to the levels that we want, you know, I'll be posting straight away, right, okay, I'm looking to long BTC here. Same with Teo, Hype, ASTER, any of those we've looked at. You know, we're looking at that inverse head and shoulders on ASTER. Does that play out? You know, I'll post those setups in WHOP post stream and say, this is what I'm looking at. And then what I'll probably do is when I actually enter that trade, I'll post and say, right, I'm long now. This is your invalidation. Okay, this is what I'm aiming for. So like yesterday on IP, just very, very quick example. So longed IP yesterday in WHOP. Okay, posted that trade form, everyone. And then said, okay, so I'm looking for a TP. Where is it? There we go. So, IP long stops under the Peps wall at 5.07, target 6 order blocks if we can push. So nice long yesterday. You can see that nice easy invalidation. Now this was better than that one. Why was this one better than that one on IP? Because the market in general was still coming down, okay? But yesterday's long on IP, okay, which is story protocol, was better, I thought, because the market looked like it wanted to rise up. So I'm happy to trade a shit altcoin if the rest of the market, Sol, ETH, BTC, look like they want to rise up. Nice, easy, tight invalidation there on IP, okay? And then if we just, so yeah, targeting, and like I said, I won't doubly go over this. We were targeting that $6 yesterday on IP, and as I woke up, like I said earlier, I was making a bloody espresso first thing this morning, so didn't fully capitulate on that long. Let's have a look. Where are we? So there we go. So we got right up to this zone, tickled it, and then wicked back down. So I was really happy to see that first thing when I woke up. So you could pretty much say target hit, but I wish I'd taken, you know, the bulk of the profit there. We started to come down here, absolutely fine with that. Nick's having his first coffee in the morning. Potentially we bounce back up and then go and hit that level. But it didn't look like we were gonna. Okay, so I'm making a coffee, I'm coming back to the desk, I'm like, oh fuck, okay, we're not coming back up here. So just take profit, didn't fully capitulate on that, but that's the way. You know, you sometimes get that, don't you? TP, as May put in some lows today with BTC, Monday range, high, low, then direction. Okay, so yeah, just telling the guys that that is where we are going to look to TP as well. And you can just see IP here. So for me personally, you know, if I'm long from here, and you see this choppiness here, and you're not getting that instant continuation of this trend, is it worth holding a shitty altcoin that's just going to round trip right back down to here? No, I'd rather just kill it. You're starting the week on a little bit of a plus. You didn't capitulate until right up there. Sorry, you didn't capitalize, should I say, until right up there, just under target. But, you know, you're in here, you're on the right side of the market, and you're starting the week fresh. So I hope that gives a little bit of insight into what was been going on over the last 24 hours. Just as I came back to desk. Right, so let's just go back to BTC then and have a look at what is going on and summarize, shall we? I don't think there's anything else we need to go over. We've gone over ETH, we've gone over Sol, Hype, few others. We've gone over what's happening this week. Main bulk of the news events are starting Wednesday, Thursday, obviously with the Fed interest rate cuts, and then, you know, China trade talks and deal. I think that deal's been done. I think it'll just be the shake of a hand. Yes, okay, it's going to be good for risk assets because you've got trade deals that are getting made and also Fed interest rates cut, but it doesn't mean you just have to long your longs 1000x right here, right now, okay? Be a trader. Don't be a moon boy or girl. Be a trader. Yeah, trade the levels. Trade those A+ setups, okay? If you're not seeing anything right here, right now, like I am, okay, so nothing to see, derivative, you know, trading derivatives on Bitcoin, be patient. Just be absolutely patient. So what are we looking for? Okay, so let's just quickly go over the levels and summarize on BTC. DOT, no, we're not looking at DOT. Will is an absolute DOT fanboy. We'll have a quick look for you. We'll have a look for you, but DOT is an app. DOT is moving like, I mean, it's still bid. It's not too bad. It is getting some bid. Let's quickly go over DOT for Will Medina because it's the only coin he holds. His retirement is based on DOT doing 1000x from here, so we have to look at it, don't we? We'll have a look. I'm only joking. We'll have a look at DOT for you though. Let's have a look at DOT. You know, I don't. It's still at the. Like, you have to go to a daily, don't you? You know, it's probably it's still at the daily chart. This is the range we've looked at many times before. Let's just go over this really quick. Massive wick down. You sat under the range lows. It certainly needs to get back above here. I can keep this as simple as this. It needs to pull back, claim 3.5, claim 4, claim 4.5, and then up. If it doesn't start trending soon, it's fucking fucked. Because this asset has been down only and ranging since February of this year. Yeah? When other altcoins have been 30, 40, 50% up. Right? You know, so it needs to, if it rejects here, or even if it rejects there, it's dead in the water. You know, it's absolutely dead in the water. So with that being said, what does the order flow like? The order flow is actually not too bad on DOT. You could actually trade it, to be honest. But you've got no bid right here, right now. Orders, bid side's being pulled until you get back down to $3. Yeah. So until you get back down to $3, what does the perps market look like? Perps market's a mess. I would ignore that and I would just concentrate on the spot market here, to be honest. No offers still, but maybe no one's selling DOT because no one holds it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm joking. But I said right at the beginning of the stream, we won't go over too many alts because they all look very similar, and you can see even from the percentages here, they do all look very, very similar. All right, so you know, trade if you just trade in derivatives or perps. Trade the higher volume coins, the coins that are moving well, the coins that put in nice ranges, put in nice trends, okay? The high volume coins. You can do that even just by looking at the screener, okay? So let's go over the screener quickly because I did have this open earlier because I was just having a look at what's in supply. But just get the screener open and have a look at your volume delta 24 hour. Okay, or just your general total volume, right? And just have a look at what is putting in some nice volume. And even Cardano is putting in some nice volume there. You know, OBD total 0 to 10% on dot 2.57 million. So it's not too bad. It's still doing some okay volume. It's just the books are a little bit dead, I would say. BNB put in some good volume today, and then on perps as well. You know, you could have a look at the perps data as well. Obviously, BTC is going to be at the top on certain markets. Then you've got a BCH putting in a good volume delta on the 24-hour. BCH, actually, it's a little bit of a scammy market, but go and have a look at the spot. Spot supply on BCH is quite heavy. So if you did want to consider a short today, potentially go and have a look at BCH, and you'll see what I mean. It's got an absolute spot death cloud above it. But yeah, so right now, BTC actually has some of the biggest supply ratio, 51 ratio, perps market, ETH, USD, I think that's BitMEX maybe, and then yeah, obviously, so you know, I don't want to long anything right here right now. I'm looking for a pullback to summarize. I don't want to short right here right now as well. I think we potentially get another spike up, but when ETH and BTC okay, have got some of the biggest ratios that you're looking at in your particular watch list, okay, yeah, caution needed. We could drop down a little bit lower. So yeah, to summarize on BTC, we're in supply, okay, but bears have been doing a bad job. We can see we're in aggregated supply on the 1 to 10% there. Okay, yeah, you do have supply from Coinbase and a couple of other markets as well, and we don't particularly have much bid under price at the minute. Okay, but technically what we do want to see is BTC start to hold some resistance to support levels, don't we? Okay, so let's just quickly go down to a 4-hour while I'm loading that. Let's have a look at questions. Wanted to join free section at the moment. It says, unfortunately, swap is not available in your region. I'm currently in Morocco. Ah, sorry about that. Yeah, and someone else had that issue as well. Maybe put on a VPN if you can get a VPN and then join that way. I know someone else in lower Africa region had that issue as well, unfortunately. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why WHOP is not allowed in those regions. Yeah, sorry about that. Not working too really, yeah, and even if you get in, it might block out some channels for some reason. Yeah, keep an eye on the keep an eye on my Twitter feed, keep an eye on the YouTube as well. Not a lot I can do about that. Maybe contact the your local government and say, look, there is this amazing trader called Nick, and I really need to follow him in WHOP, but you don't allow WHOP in Morocco, and see what they can do. Get them to join as well. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so BTC, let's summarize BTC, guys. I've been chatting shit for an hour. As I say, I will do another live session this week if we hit some volatility. That might be another public stream, might be with music on and chat, because if we're hitting some volatility, I want to be executing trades and concentrating. And for the WHOP members, I will do another detailed trade stream as well, maybe go into a little bit more technical analysis and order flow and the like. But yeah, what we're looking at, okay, so look, Bitcoin is breaking this downtrend or trying to break this downtrend, okay? Bit of a meme triangle. We've come from the point of control and we've pushed up. Resistance, support, potentially resistance to support. So ideally in the next 24 hours, and it can take that long. I actually think Bitcoin's a little bit of a slow mover nowadays, okay? We're looking at 114 or just under. Why? Potential support at the monthly open and monthly VWAP there in an important week. So in and around that 114 area, okay, do we just come down, tickle that zone? Okay, find a bid, but we need to find a bid in the books, don't we? At the minute, right here, right now, let me just go back to the order flow. Okay, we're not quite seeing a bid in that area, and you can do it as simple as this. Okay, so we do have these orders keep flitting in from the perps market and supporting prices as we go up, but like we can see to the offer side up at 120, and like we had back there in that 107 region, we don't quite have any aggressive bid coming in and sitting under price. So what I ideally, and I say ideally because we always don't get what we want, is I want to see aggressive bid come in and say, yep, fuck you bears, let's have some of this, let's run and gun and go. That's what I want to see. We might not. And it might be the case that we just float a little bit higher first. Maybe you float higher first. That's your short position. Okay, and I think that's got to be the best risk reward short there. I don't want to short the market right here, right now. I've got not much edge in that. I'd rather just see price fall. Okay, so your best risk reward short is right up there. That's why I'm saying with this change of structure and breaking resistance, the risk reward really today is potentially going to be with just looking to long down here if we can get it. Okay, that's going to potentially give you a good position on ETH, SOL, Hype, and ASTER as well that we looked at. Okay, scroll back a little bit. We've got a nice inverse head and shoulders going on ASTER, but right here, right now, we don't have too much. Now, why do we want to see that? We want to see a little pullback to confirm this area. Technically, that's going to be very, very nice if we can get it. Another thing to say as well is that we might get that in the US session. So you can just see value area high there. Resistance, resistance, break resistance, come back, pull back to there. It's just potentially at a time when, yes, I have a load of stocks in my watch list as well. When, okay, NASDAQ can potentially come back and fill that gap. All right, so already just coming back with a little bit of European weakness, European lack of volume. Okay, we don't put the volume in too much in these European sessions. So you've got a gap back here on the NASDAQ. You've got a gap back here on E-mini futures as well. Does that come in confluence with BTC finding a bid in that 114 area? I think that would be very, very nice. So that's what I'm looking at in the next 12, 24 hours. That's going to be a very, very good risk reward trade. If we just float up right here, right now, I'm just going to let it float up as well. I'm just going to let it float up, all right? So with that being said, I think we are in for a mega week of trading, to be honest. I think it's going to be really, really good. So I will keep all platforms updated with everything as much as possible. But yeah, join us in WHOP for a more in-depth detail on those entries and things we're looking at. I'm probably going to jump in there now and post the potential setups on TRDR, on ASTER, and a couple of other bits. All right, guys. Big week, and I know people keep saying that, but it is. You're in Q4. You've got Fed rates coming. You've got Trump going over to China and possibly signing some deals. Or I don't know where they're doing that actually. As at the same time, you know, you potentially got some good change of structure from the big liquidity and nukes that we had 2 weeks ago, and even last week putting in that low, or the week before putting in that low on BTC at 103. You know, some assets are ranging like ETH and SOL, testing the highs of the range, potentially confirming some market structure changes. So I think it's going to be really, really good. And I like to think that the upside potential in the coming days is going to be good. So I just hope we come down sooner than later, confirm some areas and push back up. All right, guys. So yeah, jump on all the links if you can. If you're not in Morocco, unfortunately, like Aura, and can't jump in, sorry about that. But yeah, give us a follow in on Twitter, and I do keep most platforms updated, even on YouTube. If I'm not streaming or making a video on YouTube, I will post in the community thing on YouTube as well. All right, guys. But yeah, a couple more sessions coming in this week as we have a very, very good week. Not sure if I'm doing any more market update videos at the minute. I will certainly go back to those if something killer is happening, but the live sessions are quite good as well. So what I will do is I'll timestamp this live session as well, unlike some of the others we've done. All right, so if anyone's watching this back, I'll timestamp it. All right, guys, look, hope you have a great week. Keep notifications on for all the other stuff incoming. We'll speak soon. Cheers, guys.